Hi, Bloomers. Welcome to another love transmission. I hope everyone is surviving this Scorpio season so far. I know that it can be challenging. It's very emotional. It's also very mental. And a lot of questions might be popping up into your mind. There are no disclaimers today. I'm going to just jump right in because I'm really excited about what we're talking today, mostly because it's, shame, shame, shame. I know your name. That's one of the things that is really coming up in the collective energy. There's a lot of shame being released. And then on the other hand, there's a lot of awareness being gained through the releasing of that shame. And I wanna explain why this shame is coming up to the surface and also the awareness. This is very much connected with a sense of sacrifice that has been happening in your life. Now, this could be that you had to sacrifice a really important connection that you had in your life, you had to sacrifice a relationship that you had in your life, or a job, or even your financial stability. Right? It could be that you had a really stable job and all of a sudden everything came crumbling down and you had to create new sources of income. And on the other hand, it could be that you had a very special connection with someone in your life and it was really, really hard to let it go, right? And up until now, you weren't able to understand why you had to sacrifice that. And I feel that this season is really just going to bring you clarity about that. And it's a very reflective moment, right? It's a moment where you can take pockets of stillness, pockets of silence to really sit down with those internal questions rather than avoiding them or masking them or even distracting yourself so you don't have to tap into them. Right? For some people it's easier to do it, for some people it's a little bit more difficult because it just becomes overwhelming, right, to tap into those emotions. Some of them are coming up to the surface, like I mentioned on my last channeling. They're coming up to the surface to be addressed again because you didn't fully address them before, or because you have gained a new awareness and you need to look at it again. Also, because you need to regain freedom and detachment and awareness from those connections and those situations, but also because I feel like there is a lot of, I don't want to say karma because that's a heavy word, but there's a lot of things coming back to you in a good way. And the universe wants to make sure that you are ready for a second round, whatever this is: money, a job, career, a position, a person from the past, a relationship that you left behind, whatever it is that it's coming back to you now, the universe wants to make sure that you are ready for a second round at it, okay? Whether this is good or bad. It just depends on how much work you've been doing on yourself, how much detachment you have practiced, how much forgiveness you have practiced as well, right? So in this state of reflection and stillness, we need to look at how the pattern of things have been happening in our lives, right? So why did you have to sacrifice that connection? Why did you have to sacrifice that job? Why did you have to sacrifice your financial stability? All of that was presented to you because you needed to shift the pattern of things in your life up until that point. So now imagine if you were constantly sacrificing yourself in all your relationships, like being treated, accepting being treated less than what you feel you deserve, or because you were the one always sacrificing your time and your energy or putting more effort into the connection than the other person, or whatever it was that was out of balance, you needed to sacrifice that connection in order for you to understand that you need to come first. Always. You come first. Especially if you're a woman, you always come first. But this is just showing you how you have compromised yourself, how you were selling yourself short, how you sacrifice your own energy for the sake of the connection. So obviously, to bring balance into your life, you're gonna have to sacrifice the connection for yourself. right? Same thing goes with a job, for instance, right? If you were always a workaholic and you dedicated a lot of time to working and didn't have enough time to have quality time with your family, and you constantly sacrificed the quality time of your family because you needed to work all the time, then that abrupt change needs to happen so you can really understand how important your family is for you, and how your work is not urgent but it is important, right? So it needs to be put in the back burner while you pay attention to things that are really urgent and important in your life, right? So this can happen through losing a connection, losing a job, losing a lot of money all of a sudden. This can be something that happened in the cycle of the last 3 to 5 years, right? Where you have been feeling like you are losing a lot of stuff, going through changes all the time. It's because you needed to go through the shift of sacrifice, so to speak, so you could really start putting energy and attention into things that are really important, right? If you always sacrifice, imagine if you were in a relationship and you were constantly giving more time to your partner than to yourself, or to you going out with your friends, or you taking care of yourself, or doing other things that are part of your passion and your hobbies, then you're going to have to go through a period where you don't have anyone in your life. So you start to appreciate and pick up on all of those activities until you reach a point where you say, I am my own person, I can hold my own. And I know that when someone comes into my life, I will never make them a priority ever again, because I know that I have built a solid foundation for myself. So I come first, right? But if this was not a pattern in the past, where you consistently had to sacrifice yourself in order to have the connection or the person or the quality time with them, then you had to experience the other way around to make sure that if that person comes back into your life, or a new person comes back into your life, you know what your priorities are. So you know what it's urgent, what it's important, where you need to put your energy, how much time you need to dedicate to a connection without compromising yourself, without selling yourself out, right? That's the case of a relationship. Same thing goes for work. Same thing goes for work. If you have been putting a lot of effort into working and didn't pay attention to other things that you had happening around you, like you didn't have time for your friends, or time for yourself, time for your family, time to connect with people that are important to you, right? You had to go through that break to make those connections again, to rewire and organize your priorities in order to know that, yes, I need my job and I need the money, but I also need to make sure that I have my emotional balance, that I have my support, whatever that is, your family, your friends, whatever it is, your partners even, right? So I see a major shift, but the most important thing that I wanted to explain to all of you, because this is very liberating, and I'm hoping that the message is landing right in your heart where it needs to land, for you to understand why you had to sacrifice so many things in your life over the last few years. You lost a house, you lost a job, you lost loads of money, you lost a relationship. I know, I've been there, I lost all of those things, and I've never been happier in my whole life, right? I'm grateful for everything that I left behind, because it just brought me here today. But we really need to go through all of that to really understand where are the important things in our life, where we need to be dedicated and loyal and committed, right? And it's always us. That's the first priority that we need to have every day. Sometimes we tend to lose ourselves in our connections, in our relationships, and we make sacrifices to help other people or to be with other people, rather than actually doing things that we needed to do for ourselves, right? We do that a lot. So in the cycle of relationships, what's important is that if in the past you used to run with your emotions, fall in love at first sight and just go with the flow and do everything without thinking, this energy is really demanding that you look at it and integrate a little bit of your thinking process into it. Bring logic into the equation as well. Yes, follow your heart, but bring your mind as well. Don't leave your mind out of the equation. Measure things, measure the effort that is being put in both sides of the connection. Measure the amount of communication, measure the amount of dedication and loyalty and honesty that is being put in the connection, and be wise enough to reciprocate and not act upon your emotions, but being able to respond and reciprocate according to what is being shown to you, right? So you don't feel like you're putting too much and not receiving enough. If, on the other hand, you've been very logical about your relationships and you dismissed a lot of relationships in your past, like this doesn't make sense, there's no logic for me being with this person, I see no logic in being in this connection. Now you're being asked to tap more into your emotions and defy the logic of it and go like, what does it matter how they look like, or who they are in life, or what kind of job they have, or the beliefs that they have, if I still have the emotional connection to them or the spiritual connection to them, right? So it's a beautiful merge between your mind and your heart, and understanding that your emotions are not facts. Your emotions are not facts. Your thoughts are not facts either. But your emotions are here to be of service to you. They are signals. They are an indication of the things that you like or dislike, the things that have resonance with you or not, right? Because you tap into your intuition. And then your mind is here to work together with your emotions and then come up with the strategy and the logic needed to make things work. But you cannot just run with one or the other. You need to find a balance between the two of them, right? So this is very important, not just in relationships, but also in your jobs, in your financial decisions as well, you know, where you have to evaluate what makes sense in terms of your money investments and what doesn't, where you are putting your money and you're not seeing any gain from it, and where you could be applying it instead, right? So yes, combine your emotions, combine with your mind. And all of this is coming perhaps with a lot of layers of shame, things that you're going to have to look into that are very uncomfortable. Now let's imagine that you've been going through a stage. I had a couple of sessions with people lately who are going through this. Imagine that you've been having a pattern of having one-night stands or very unstable relationships lately, right? It could be that you were so attached to a concept of being with just one person and that person only, and they were the only ones for you, that once you released the need to be with that person, you started to meet new people and you started to get involved with them. And all of that happened to you so far has been a source of shame, perhaps, right? Where you think like, oh my God, you know, I've been in and out of short relationships that didn't work out, and that brings me shame. That makes me feel bad about myself. That makes me feel insecure. That makes me feel uncomfortable, right? Because I'm judging myself and my actions. That's one example. The other example is the other way around. If you had a pattern of being in and out of relationships, and all of a sudden you meet someone and you cannot imagine yourself with anybody else but that person, right? And you're going to have to sacrifice your player personality or your in and out flaky personality to actually commit to someone and say, you know what, I'm done with the games, I'm done with playing around, I'm really looking forward to have a connection where I can be honest and I can be just with that person without the need for attention from external sources, from more people, right? But this is all bringing the balance of our feminine side, our masculine side, our emotions, our mind, because everything is connected. It's really shaking up our beliefs so far. It's really showing us why you have sacrificed the things that you had to sacrifice in your life to get to where you are today. And I hope that you can see that it doesn't matter how much you have lost so far, you have gained yourself. And the lesson to take out of this is that you be so committed and so dedicated and so loyal to that journey of the self, to acknowledge that everything that I have today and everything that I have accomplished for myself, to myself, from myself, I did it with a lot of hard work. I did it. I did it myself. I didn't have the help of anyone else. I did it myself. Now, the next time that I'm going to be presented with something in my life, whether that is a financial situation, a job, or a relationship, I need to keep that in mind, that I cannot jeopardize my own growth and everything that I have achieved so far, right? I cannot just run wild with my emotions and get into a situation that is going to compromise my growth so far. And I cannot be so logical that I not use my intuition in the process of choosing something or accepting something or allowing something, right? But this is such a period of abundance, more than anything, really abundance. And abundance, everyone is going to feel abundance differently. I'm going to say the word abundance, and some of you are going to be thinking about, oh my God, money is coming. Someone else is going to think, oh my God, a relationship is coming. Some of you are going to think health is coming into my life. I don't have to feel sick anymore. So abundance comes in many ways. Can even be abundance of clarity, of awareness, of just self-confidence. Can be a lucky break. Someone comes into your life and makes you an offer for a new job, right? But abundance comes in so many different ways. And one of the things that we really need to understand and embrace every day is embrace the daily changes without any judgment. Be willing to have an open mind every day where you say, you know what, I used to think this and now I've changed my mind and I want to embrace that change in my life. I don't want to be constantly thinking about the same thing over and over again. I want to be in the process of that transformation every day, right? I want to practice more detachment of my old beliefs so I can actually find more purpose in the new ones that I'm creating for myself, right? I want to feel inspired. I want to feel inspired by everything that is being presented without constantly thinking that what is being presented to me now is a consequence or a punishment or a reward for something that I did in the past, because you're always going to find places in your past where you're going to feel like you need justice and you deserve good things to come into your life to compensate for the things that you sacrificed in the past. And then there's going to be situations in the past where you think like, I deserve to be punished for that because that was not okay what I did to that person, right? So keep that in mind. Keep in mind the daily inspiration, the daily change. Embrace those changes, that daily transformation that happens within, without the need to pick up on the polarity of your past memories and constantly think that you are owed either a reward or a punishment, okay? Because that's not about that. It's really about building new desires, holding new visions of the things that are to come, and then just, be willing to start from the student point of view of doing the repetition of the whole cycle of manifesting things in your life, right? Knowing that they are different than the ones you wanted before, according to the lessons that you have learned in the meantime, right? So in the present moment is really about allowing a reciprocity, but also a balance in everything in your life, right? Where you don't feel like I sacrifice a lot of time at work and I don't get paid enough, or I give a lot more attention to my partner than they give to me, or I'm always the one to contact my family, they never contact me. We are looking for the equality, the balance, the harmony, the reciprocity in all areas of our lives. And we can only do that by merging the mind with the emotional body and using the lesson of self-sacrifice that has been happening over the last few years to understand that I come first. No matter what, I have me. If I fall again, I have me. If someone leaves my life, I have me. Even if I don't have money and a job, I have me, right? And I can create new sources of income. I can create new sources of love. I can create new sources of happiness and fulfillment and contentment, right? But it's important for you to understand that you go through your own thinking process and emotional process, and you go like, This is why I had to sacrifice this relationship. This is why I had to sacrifice my job. This is why I had to sacrifice my financial stability. So I could really understand what is important for me, right? So if you had to sacrifice your financial stability, perhaps you realize that I'm buying more things than I should. I'm buying things that are useless. I actually don't need most of the things that I buy, or to make healthier choices in what you buy, right? In terms of food or anything else that you like. That's a sacrifice of the money, where you really realize that I realized that not having so much money made me really focus the money that I have on the things that are really important to me, right? I made cuts and I have applied and invested the money in the places that are really, really important to me. Be self-development or your diet or your exercise routine, right? But you had to squeeze in the amount of money that you had into a specific area that was really important for you. Same thing goes with time. Same thing goes with love. If you didn't have anyone in your life lately, you really had to invest all of that love onto yourself, taking care of you, perhaps changing your style, changing your hair, changing the way you dress, taking new courses, investing in yourself in general, right? Spending more time with your friends, perhaps, right? So understand your self-sacrifice, embrace it, embrace the lesson, practice the forgiveness, embrace the lesson, and move on, okay? But move on from a place where you don't take the karma with you anymore. You just take the lesson so you can find the balance in the future, okay? So I mentioned this, I think, on my podcast. I said that when you hold someone prisoner of their actions, you are locking yourself with them in the same cage as a victim. So if you are still blaming someone from the past for your present circumstances, you are still locked in the same prison that you are putting them. Okay? The best way to do it is you release their actions, knowing that if I'm going to hold them prisoner for that, I'm going to hold myself prisoner with them as a victim. And if I do that and I put myself in the past, I cannot possibly be present in the present and present in the future, right? So I choose to take the lesson, not the karma, and I'm going to set both of us free from this event, from this pain, from this hurt, from this trauma, and I'm going to move on because I know that I have gained myself. Did I self-sacrifice? Absolutely you did, but you gained yourself, and nobody can take that away from you. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this brings clarity to some of you. If you do need help, please reach out to me. I will happily help you with your own process of unfolding of yourself. And I'm sending you so much love and so many blessings. I'm wishing you an amazing day, and I'm really praying that you stay safe and protected within the power of your own heart. Big love to all of you.